Okay, so we are live for another migrant woman reality watch. Sorry, we are experiencing a little bit of technical problems today, so please be patient with us. I'm going to let some more people come into the live. For now, I just wanted to welcome you all. Thank you for following today. We know it's not the best day to have this kind of interviews. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we are marking each day of these 16 days of activism. And for today, we have a very special guest with us, who you might or not have heard from before. Her name is Ana-Luana from the CIAMS platform. The CIAMS is the International Coalition for the Abolition of Surrogate Motherhood, and us at the European Network of Migrant Women, we're very happy and all very proud to be members of this network. We've been working together closely for more than 2 years now, and surrogacy and reproductive exploitations are things and topics that matter a lot to us, because as much as prostitution and other kinds of exploitation, migrant women are the first bearers violations of this kind of. So thank you, Ana-Luana, for being with us here today.
Thank you.
Okay, I hope you can hear me well. Just before we start, I just want to present Ana-Luana before she does herself. So Ana-Luana, she teaches social policies at the Essonne Institute for Research and Training in Social Action. So this is in France. She has contributed to the book Les Marchés de la Maternité, which in English translates to the Markets of Maternity or Motherhood. And she has also coordinated the thematic file that is called What is Surrogacy for East European Feminism. And this has been published in the Analize Journal for Gender and Feminism Studies from 2016. Ana-Luana, she actually is one of the co-founders and co-chairs of the International Coalition for the Abolition of Surrogacy, alongside Marie-Joseph de Villiers, who we have worked with as well. So during this Migrant Reality Watch, we're going to be talking about reproductive exploitation, specifically of migrant women and how they are exploited in the surrogacy industry. And we're also going to be talking to you about a new joint study that the European Network of Migrant Women did with the CIAMS on this exact topic, which is the reproductive exploitation of migrant women. So without giving too much away, I just, want to welcome you again, Ana-Luana, and wanted to see if you could maybe introduce the CIAMS to the audience for those who don't know what it is. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Adriana, and hello to everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. So I will briefly present myself, and mostly I will present ICASM. So I am here today in my capacity as one of the 3 co-chairs of the ICASM, the International Coalition for the Abolition of Surrogate Motherhood. The two others co-chairs are Marie-Joseph de Villiers and Berta Garcia. As a feminist, I am a member of a Romanian NGO called ANA, Society for Feminist Analysis, and of a French NGO, which is the Collectif pour le respect de la personne, the CoRP. Our coalition, the ICASM, was founded in 2018 by 4 French feminist NGOs that had already mobilized together, and also with other feminist movements, to raise awareness of public opinion and of the political class in France, and also at an international level with regard to surrogacy. At the present, our coalition brings together some 40 members, feminist NGOs or movements from 13 countries: Austria, Australia, Belgium, Canada, Colombia, South Korea, France, Italy, Japan, Romania, Sweden, UK, Ukraine, And we also work closely with feminists from India, Mexico, and the United States of America. Now, the reason we created this coalition is, first of all, to make known the feminist voices which have been standing up for 40 years concerning surrogacy. To also make known the analysis they have made of this practice from its beginnings, and which have shown that it is an exploitation of women regardless of the conditions in which it is carried out. Two things are essential in our mobilization. First of all, we consider it top priority to put women at the center of the surrogacy analysis. And second, we have to organize an international action in defense of women's rights, but also women's health and life, in the face of an international market that is developing at lightning speed, and in which women, their bodies, their reproductive capacities are the raw material. So this is why this international coalition.
Thank you. Those are very strong words and so powerful for the creation of such a coalition. And it's great to see that you have many members, not only in Europe, but also in countries in the global south and in countries where the surrogacy thrive and where actually a lot of Westerners go to take advantage of women and their offspring. So thank you for that. Also, to frame this conversation, I wanted for you to explain to the audience what do you understand by reproductive exploitation, so that we are clear on the terms.
Okay, so first I would like to briefly define what surrogacy is, or at least what surrogacy is from our point of view. Surrogacy is a practice consisting in recruiting a woman, whether or not for remuneration, to bear one or more children, whether or not with her own eggs, for the purpose of handing them over to a person or persons who wish to be considered the parents of those children. The reason why the vast majority of women who agree to become surrogate mothers do so is money. So surrogacy benefits and thrives on the inequalities between women and men, the inequalities experienced by women, and above all by mothers. Because around the world, motherhood keeps women out of the labor market and also reduces their wages. It is therefore, first of all, an exploitation of the social and economic inequalities suffered by mothers. But it is also a combination, surrogacy is also a combination of medical, obstetric, and psychological violence. In order to give birth to the children by contract, women accept heavy medical treatment, intrusive and risky obstetric practices, and also they accept to submit themselves to dissociation. If the practice has become so popular, if it is growing all over the world, it is because the economic power and influence, political influence, I insist, of men who want to become parents using women in surrogacy is reinforced, their power is reinforced by the neoliberal and patriarchal system. The majority of the commissioning persons today are men. And this is a very important point. And when feminists like us and others warn on the violence inherent in surrogacy, we are told that, well, women consent to it, so there is no problem. So when men take profit, women consent to live violence. Violence is mentioned in the contract, in the surrogacy contract. Of course, it is not named as such as violence, but all the acts suffered by women and the consequences of those acts correspond to the definition of violence. So women are paid not for the child, not to relinquish the filiation link, but for the pain and suffering, for the personal injury, for the medical risks and psychological risks they accept. So this is why we consider surrogacy is reproductive exploitation and a combination of violence.
Do you think you can, maybe for the audience as well, make the connection between other forms of violence, such as prostitution, with this specific one?
Absolutely, absolutely. We consider there is a close connection between the use of women bodies in prostitution and in surrogacy, because in both cases we talk about consent, free choice, and empowerment of women. So this is always the same neoliberal language used to justify violence against women and exploitation.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you a more personal question, maybe regarding this issue. Since you are yourself Romanian, and we know that a lot of Romanian women are exploited in this industry, what does it mean to you, as a feminist woman, as a researcher as well? What does it mean to you to be kind of the face of, I wouldn't say, maybe not the face, but or does it mean something special to you to be in this network, Berta and Marie, being from a country that has a lot of women that are exploited in diverse industries, not just the surrogacy one?
It is a very personal question indeed.
You are not obliged to answer that.
I'm prepared to answer it. Well, when I was young, I was, of course, I received offers from Western men who came in Romania and who, I think, imagine that they can pay young Romanian students just because they wanted to. And when I asked one of two of them what makes them think it is possible, it was just, well, you're young, you're Romanians. And it didn't work. They seemed surprised. And after this, of course, how to say it? I stay very, it is a very sensitive question, because I can see in the acts, in the attitudes of some men, their indifference and their mépris, condescendence concerning Eastern European women when it comes to buy the use of their bodies and their persons.
Thank you for answering my very personal question. I promise it's the last one. It's great that you gave us some basis. I think language is very important, and it's great that you set the tone by explaining to us what is surrogacy and what is reproductive exploitation. I really like your analysis on neoliberal language. I think that's a very good concept. And I thank you for that and for sharing with our audience and the people that would access this video. So I was saying before in your presentation that the network which I'm a member of and that I work for, so the European Network of Migrant Women, we did with your network, with your platform, a joint study on reproductive exploitation and the use of migrant women in the surrogacy industry. So what I would like to ask you to do now is to explain this joint study that we did. I will, in the meantime, be posting the link so more people can have access to it. If you can explain the study, how was it decided? What is the thought process behind it? How did it work to do this joint study? And in the meantime, I will share the study with the rest of the audience.
Thank you. So when we started working together, the ICASM and the European Network of Migrant Women, the link between surrogacy and women migration was an evidence to each of our movements. Because each of us already observed women who moved in order to sell their eggs and then who became surrogate mothers. And also we knew about migrant women who have lost their poorly paid jobs in the countries where they migrated. And then they have been offered the possibility to become surrogate mothers. So we decided to investigate because there is, we made a constat that there was no study, no publication on women, migrant women, and surrogacy. So we decided to do this study. We started it to about 1.5 years ago. And first of all, we asked our members to provide us with the situations identified in their respective countries. Then we send a questionnaire to our members and through our members to other NGOs, to other movements, women rights movements all over the world. This questionnaire was relayed by 2,600, a little more, people, and it was completed by 288 NGOs from 37 countries. Then we send another questionnaires to all the states that are members of the Hague Conference on Private International Law, because the Hague Conference on Private International Law is doing from 10 years now. They are trying to regulate surrogacy at an international level. So we wanted to ask member states what about surrogacy in their country. Then we conducted a search through the press between January 2021 and May 22, using 20 keywords, about 20 keywords in 5 languages: German, English, French, Italian, Spanish. And we conduct also an in-depth investigation with manual searches and more developed documentation for 3 countries, Mexico, Ukraine, and Greece. And of course, we documented on academic publications, articles, and also thesis. So this is how we did the study. And I have to say that the realization of the study was possible thanks to the involvement of our members and to the quality of the work carried out by our trainees, whom I wish to thank from the bottom of my heart. Then, from the investigation, it results three main patterns. The first one shows that migrant women are exploited for their reproductive capacity in the country where they have migrated, for egg harvesting first, and then for surrogacy. This is the case, for instance, in Greece or Cyprus, or Georgia or Russia. So women already have migrated to those countries, and then in there they were used for surrogacy. The second pattern is the one in which women are moved from their country to another one to be exploited as surrogate mothers, for instance, in the United States or in China. Mafia groups, but also sometimes just individuals are behind those cases. So it is organized or not, but there is exploitation. And the third pattern is the situation when surrogate mothers are moved to different places or countries to each stage of the process. When they are recruited, when the embryo is transferred, when the pregnancy, between the pregnancy period, and then for the delivery. Several reasons to those several displacements of women. One reason is the lack of technology available in the country where the woman is already. So Indian women were impregnated in India, but the clients were in another country, so they were displaced to Nepal, for instance. Second reason for all those transfers and movements is the fact that clients want to bypass the local laws. That is the situation, of course, of Ukrainian women. There is also always for the convenience of clients, because, for instance, there are clients who want surrogate mothers to come in their own country to give birth. For instance, Ukrainian women are displaced to be inseminated in Cyprus, then back to Ukraine for the pregnancy, and they can go to Canada or to Belgium or to Czech Republic, even to Poland, to give birth, depending on the choices of the commissioning persons. There is also an explanation, which is to facilitate the control of and to monitor the pregnancy. Why? Because women are usually recruited in rural areas or small towns, and they have to move to bigger towns offering arts technology, and they might stay there until the delivery. And also the other explanation is to probably sell the children in another country after the delivery of an illegal adoption. So there are those three main patterns, and we saw how in time things develop and go on all the continents.
Okay. A lot of things that you mentioned really remind me of human trafficking. Maybe it's because I'm not such an expert on the issue, but especially the third case that you told me, that the surrogate mothers would be transported to countries where they would be exploited. Could we say that that the connection between human trafficking and surrogacy is always there, or does this depend on some factors? What could you say to us about that?
I could not say that it is always human trafficking concerning women. It is always human trafficking concerning children, of course.
Mm.
Because one decide on the life of another human being, which is the child. The children are human beings like us, like any other person, so they have access and they have to guarantee their human rights, but they are not guaranteed their human rights. Concerning the definition of the trafficking in persons, following the Palermo Protocol, which was adopted in 2000 by the United Nations, cross-border surrogacy is trafficking in persons, trafficking in women for the purpose of the reproductive exploitation. I have the definition somewhere in my computer, but in the Palermo Protocol, it is said that the consent of the victims is irrelevant. So when Ukrainian women are displaced in March this year, April this year, May this year, they were displaced from Ukraine to Ireland, to the United Kingdom, to France, to Germany, to Italy, elsewhere in the world, it is trafficking in persons.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Following the definition of Palermo Protocol. So they consent, of course, because of the vulnerability, because of the money, because of the conditions, because of everything we know, it is trafficking in persons.
Okay, thank you for that. I wanted to say that this declaration has now been posted on the site. It's available on the European Network of Migrant Women and the CIAMS website. And it is, of course, up for it is free and open for everybody to go and read it. I really recommend, because as Ana-Luana was saying, there is no studies done whatsoever on surrogacy and migrant women except this one. So we would really recommend the usage of this material, not only for advocacy efforts, but also just general knowledge. Yes, I wanted to ask you, Ana-Luana, now that we have, published this joint study, what is happening now for your coalition? Are there very pressing issues to be worked on now? And after that, I will share the statements that we did with the European Women's Lobby and CAP International. So I just wanted to know, what is the coalition working on now, and how can we support your work? Not we as European Network of Migrant Women, but also the audience and women who are sincerely interested on this issue and would like to be more active.
Well, we would very much like that there are international instruments to make clear that cross-border surrogacy is trafficking in person. So surrogacy is violence against women, economic, physical violence, psychological violence, and we are trying to convince the CEDAW committee that surrogacy must be listed among the violence against women practices. So there is also our joint action to the European Parliament, but most of all, we are really very preoccupied by the initiative of the Hague Conference on International Private Law, who tries really hard to open worldwide to surrogacy and to regulate it by a protocol on parentage. So please help us and support us to stop them regulate violence against women, because it cannot be regulated. Women are exploited even that it is regulated. or not. And this is what happened from 40 years now. So we have to stop this convention, this protocol of the Hague Conference on International Private Law, and also what is called the Verona Principles, who are addressed to the states who would like to regulate surrogacy by themselves and not in the framework of the Hague Conference. So we have to all be really very, very careful to who take profit from this practice, who pays the price. And this is always women who pay the price, always mothers who pay the price, because they are mothers. Women who are mothers would do whatever it takes for their children, for the education of their children, for giving them a better life. So saying that women are nice and generous and they accept to become surrogate mothers to make other people happy, it is not an explanation, and it is never an acceptable justification to regulate the practice. So please help us to stop these regulatory activities.
This lobbying or efforts that you're doing with the Hague Conference, I know that there's a Google Doc that can be signed by organizations and individual women and men, correct?
Yeah, there is on our, the petition is on our website, Abolition. So if, I don't know if you can put it, or I will try to put it on the discussion.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You were talking about those who take profit of this practice. Is there maybe a profile of people who take profit of this practice, just as there is a profile of the women who are exploited in the surrogacy industry? Is there a clear profile of those who exploit women in the industry?
I could not say, because since now we almost were regarding the women's situation. But when you look at the owner of the clinics, the owner of the agencies, those who obtain what they want by paying women, it's mostly the same actors as always in a patriarchal culture. So it's persons, men, women also, mostly men, who take profit, but what it is already an inequality and an exploitation. And when we say, but yes, but this practice can empower women to become what they to do or to become what they want, it is just not true, because women always pay with their health, with their security, and those who take profits don't pay a thing. So I don't have profiles of the clients or those who became rich using it, because our main interest is women, are the women.
Okay, that's interesting. I would maybe profile is the wrong answer. Maybe I was more looking for patterns, but you explained that in the beginning. Mostly, Westerners or people from the global north coming into the global south.
Not only. When you look to the owners of Ukrainian clinics, Ukrainian agencies, it's really very interesting to see what are the profile. Who are those people? What are their professions? What are their nationalities? How many money are they doing this? What are the risks they take, they personally take? None. And I don't want to give names, because I don't have now the information on me, but some of them are really very, very interesting profiles. In the context, in the political and geopolitical context of Ukraine, Transnistria, Moldova, Russia, and also in West Germany, for instance, persons who have multiple nationalities between East and West to protect themselves and to make money and to make business. Mm-hmm. And this is not what I know. It's about clinics in Ukraine, but there are not only in this region that it happens.
Thank you, Ana-Luana. My last question would be maybe about the backlash that you have in your work. We, as a migrant woman-led network, we talk about a lot of issues that are not very much, talked about in the here in Brussels, in the NGO world, but also in the migration sector. We have a very clear analysis on prostitution, sexual exploitation, on language as well. We have a very clear idea of who we are and what harms us migrant women, and we suffer the consequences, let's say, at political level, also sometimes at personal level. I was wondering if that is also the case for your organization or for you women that are running in this organization. What is the cost of talking about surrogacy? Is there any cost? Is it something that is taboo, or that people don't want to talk, don't want you to talk about this?
Our coalition is trying to raise awareness at a political level as concerns surrogacy risks and harms. Marie-Joseph de Villers and myself, we coordinated a book which already was published in English and also in French, and right now in Italian, and we are very happy with this. The book was sent, it's really a good book. I mean, really. And I would really like to, how to say, to discuss and to debate on the book and on the arguments in the book. Our editor, French editor, sent the book to all the main media in France. There were hardly 2 or 3 critiques, very good critiques indeed, but hardly 2 or 3. The year before, 2021, another book was published by Odile Jacob Editeur, which is a very good editor in France, Les Marchés de la Maternité. Also, this book was sent to all the main media in France. None accepted to talk about. And the book was coordinated by the sociologist Martin Segalen and the gynecologist Nicole Atea. Sylviana Kaczynski participated, Marie Balmary, Eliette Abekassis, Monette Vaquin, Sandra Travers de Poltrier. I mean, people who really know what they are talking about, with arguments, very good contributions, very solid contributions, and no echo. I wonder why. I wonder why. Why are people in the media refusing to talk about this when they are talking about people who obtained children through surrogacy? Is there any connivance, any personal relationship? I don't know, I wonder. And also we are we are very questioning about the political attitude of some political parties and other institutions who are refusing to talk to us. So I will not name those institutions, because it is not important who the persons or the institutions are, but there is an observations that I can make at a general level. The coalition sent arguments, letters with arguments, facts to state institutions, and we have no answer. And we insist, we ask again, no answer. So this is really very preoccupating issue.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it can be very worrying on one side. From the media side, I would maybe dare to say that, against facts, there is nothing to debate. There is no room for interpretation, let's say, when you talk about these kind of things, and especially after your very dedicated continuous work with your members, which is also highly appreciated. So maybe from the media side, it's just there's nothing to debate. Everything is clear, and they would have to do a lot of mental gymnastics to even be able to produce any kind of contrary arguments to your books, which are excellent books that were brought to Brussels as well. So yeah, from the politician side, I also have no comment about that. I agree with you. I wanted to thank you, Ana-Luana, for being with us here today. You have the opportunity to maybe leave some final words if you wish so. If not, it's okay. I'm just checking if there were any questions in the Facebook chat. There weren't, besides two comments that are thanking you for your work and saying that your book is really good towards the abolition of surrogate motherhood. There are little messages, but it's good to see that your work makes a difference. One of them is in Australia, so it's good to see that your work also has global implications. I think Spinifex Press did a very good job in promoting your book as well, and I really like that it has a global reach, because, as you said, it's contributions from women from different fields and who know what they are talking about. So yeah, thank you, Ana-Luana, and if you have any last words, this is your opportunity. If not, bid each other goodbye.
Thank you again for your invitation. Thank you to the persons who were there for us, and for any question, or if you want more information, please go on our website, and we'll be delighted to answer your question and to know that our work is ready. Thank you again.
Thank you. If there are any people from any organizations watching you, remember that CIAMS is a membership-driven platform such as ours. So this means that there's also the possibility of applying as members. If the work interests you, and if you are interested in coordinated strategic work on the issue, the women from CIAMS are the women to talk to. So I really encourage you to do that. CIAMS is present on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and forgive me if I'm missing another one, but in all these social media platforms, you can access everything that Ana-Luana was mentioning today, including the joint studies and statements that we did together. So yes, thank you so much for being with us here today, especially on a Sunday, and I wish you a very good night, Ana-Luana.
Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye.